Guy Mayhew is 17 years old. He lives here in Whitstable. His doctor's surgery is here, just a few miles from his home. So Guy was surprised when a bill arrived and he saw the cost of the call he'd made to book an appointment.
The call cost came to just over £7 for that single call. And I've looked at the phone bill, and the most expensive calls were to the local surgery, which is less than 10 miles away, and it's costing more than what a call to the USA, Japan or any other country, not even in Europe, costs.
The reason for the sky-high charges? Guy had used his landline to dial a revenue-sharing phone number, something we're used to seeing on TV quizzes and chat lines. But increasingly, everyday businesses and services across Britain are using them too.
When a revenue-sharing telephone number is called, part of the revenue is passed to the company providing the service to the receiver of the call. It's totally unacceptable for an organisation that is funded by taxation to subsidise or fund its operations by charging money to people who telephone it.
One of the main problems is it isn't always clear how much you're being charged. And many people we spoke to didn't seem to know that the companies who use these numbers are getting their hands on your cash every time you dial them.
I don't think if you're buying a service you should be paying the company to talk to them about that service.
You're paying for their inefficiency. You know, the fact that the device maybe broke down or there's some service interruption, you've got to report it and then you've got to pay again at a premium rate.
Guy's experience angered him so much he started a petition on the 10 Downing Street website. And he's clearly not the only one who feels ripped off. More than 37,000 people have now added their names to it. So how do you spot the telephone numbers that are going to add extra digits to your bill? We set out our stall and asked if anyone could pinpoint the rip-off rates. Red stickers for the numbers thought to be the most expensive, and green for the cheapest. Lots of people recognised 09 as an expensive premium rate number, but hardly anyone spotted that 0870 numbers can also hit you where it hurts. And if that's not bad enough, if you're one of the 7 million people throughout the UK who rely solely on a mobile phone, these money-making numbers are putting you even more out of pocket. We'll reveal more later in the show. We know now that more and more businesses and services across Britain are making money from you every time you ring them. And it's not always clear what numbers are free to call and which ones come with a premium rate. As Guy found out when he got stung for a £7 bill for calling his local GP.
The NHS is supposed to be free on the point of delivery. I think that patients having to pay for their own phone system is outrageous.
Knowing what numbers come with what costs can help. But even the numbers that are generally low cost from a landline can be another story entirely if dialed from a mobile. The Masons found this out to their cost when they needed to make calls to sort out a benefits problem. They managed to ring up a bill of more than £10.
You're on benefits for a reason, i.e. that we can't work because I'm ill, and to have to ring and pay that extra money, I think it's really wrong. If you haven't got the credit or you haven't got the allowance on your contract, then you can't phone a number.
And the Masons aren't alone. With more than 7 million people in the UK relying solely on mobiles, phones at the Citizens Advice Bureau have been ringing off the hook, with people fed up with the fact that many government departments use high-cost phone numbers.
Hello, Lead Citizens Advice Bureau. It's the poorest people who are most likely to depend on a mobile phone and who are paying the price for an outdated system which was designed when the vast majority of people had a landline phone.
For crisis loans, please press 1.
Even the number you need to ring to claim a government crisis loan can cost 40 pence a minute from a mobile.
We are sorry, but all our lines are busy.
There is an alternative. A new 03 prefix is being rolled out, and it is included in free minutes with contract mobiles.
It's something that some government departments are beginning to do. For example, the Home Office has several helplines which used to be 0870 numbers, but now are 03 numbers. But it's happening too slowly.
And until the government gets its act together, it's families like the Masons who'll be left feeling ripped off.
When you've got 4 children, sometimes you need NHS Direct or you need advice or, and it's not there. people in this situation need them numbers, you know, to not swap them over. I think it's really sad when they've got the power to do so, you know.
It seems there's a lot of confusion out there about these phone numbers. Our researchers asked which of these numbers is free to call from a landline, 0845 or 0844. Over half of you didn't know that neither is free. Well, we spoke to the Department of Work and Pensions and they said if you're concerned about the cost of your call, then you should ask the operator to call you back. Well, with me now is Gareth Davies from Ofcom. Now, this is a subject that infuriates so many people, me included. How can government departments possibly justify making money out of these numbers?
Well, Ofcom has advised government and public bodies that certainly they shouldn't use the more expensive 08 numbers, or clearly not 09, the premium rate numbers, for public services. And our advice is that where possible they should use 03 numbers. And you sound as if you've got the will, but what you need is more teeth, I think. Well, obviously our powers are defined in the Communications Act, so we operate within those powers, and we do as much as we can with the powers that we have. If there were to be a case of changing those powers or giving us additional authority, then that would have to come from government. We did a survey in the street and nobody seemed to know about the 03 number. And when you're making a call, you don't have time to think, no, how much is this going to cost me? It should just be simplified, shouldn't it? Well, we think that it's actually sensible to offer a range of different options for users of these numbers, depending on their requirements. No, but what would suit most people is that you know that you're paying 2 pence or something a minute for any phone call. The problem with that is that if I can use 084 as an illustration, that there are some services that simply wouldn't be provided if that was the way they were charged for. Such as? An example would be dial-up internet services, which still account for about 1/3 of the calls made to 084 numbers, and that's the only source of revenue. OK, then, well, let's turn to mobile phones, because that's a whole different ball game, isn't it? And I think people are getting very alarmed about how their bills are rocketing because they're ringing these numbers. Why is the mobile charge so much greater than the landline? Well, I accept that is certainly an issue that is of growing concern to consumers and to us. At the moment, we don't set rules requiring mobile companies, generally speaking, to charge the same as fixed providers, and that is something that we've committed to look at during next year. Surely it should be more urgent than that, a higher priority. Well, we consult every year on the in our annual plan on the work programme that we're going to follow over the coming 12 months, and we would agree that 0800 is probably the next one that we need to get to grips with.